Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Sheila. Good to see you today. So we're going to work on this little pumpkin. I went ahead and put some paint on the sides to kind of test my paints out. It says, hey there pumpkin, and this came from the Big Lots. So they're like under $3 right now at the Big Lots, and it's a nice thick piece of wood. You of course could use a piece of scrap wood as well, but I thought I would use this today and just do a little cute quick pumpkin. So I mixed a couple of paints together. I was kind of deciding what color, and I was going to make it more toward the green so it would look more like an heirloom. And so I mixed a little bit of our celery by Waverly and just a touch of the scallion. I wasn't quite liking that green, so it was really too green. So I added some blue Java Banana by Magical Chalk Paint from Paint Pixie, and I thought, let me mix that in, and I'm kind of digging this color. So we're going to repaint on top of the other ones, and I kind of like this a little bit better. It's still green, but it gives you just a more of a blue undertone than this bright green, so I'm kind of liking that better. So let's get that all painted up and dry. I think it's going to look good. We're going to go ahead and crackle today. That's going to look good for our crackle. You of course could do it a little bit darker. I did try a little bit of a kind of a Christmas green. That was too green, so I decided I would just stick with this, and we're going to leave our stem just like it is. So lots of options, lots of options. So I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. I am also on some other platforms that you can follow me. My page is Sweetie's Creations and Decor on the other platforms. And I think I'm liking this color. I think this is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get some in the sides here, but it's not that important because we're going to be crackling it anyway. So it's not going to take long. This is going to dry pretty quick. Now it did have this little bow on there. I wasn't a fan. I'm going to make a pretty bow, so I pulled it off. Well, I kept thinking it had glue on it, and I kept heating it. It had a staple. So if you get one, it does have a staple, not glue. Sometimes you find that out after you pull on it. So this color is looking good. I kind of like this color. It's different, but you know that you have some heirloom pumpkins that are in the greens and the blues, and I love to use those in my decor, as well as the orange and the bronze and white pumpkins. So this just gives you a little different something. Also, I'm going to add this, and this is just one of the little wood discs. I put some coffee grunge on there, and we might put a little bit of dry brush with the paint color that I'm going to use on top of this, and that might just give that just a little different look. I'm going to add that on there as well. I like to put some layers on here. Okay, we got that painted up. That looks good. Let's put our paintbrush over here. We might end up having to touch up some. I'm not going to worry about the back. We're just doing the front. I'm going to take my tool and dry that up. Get this all dried up. I see a couple of wet spots that I want to go ahead and get. Add some other or some stencils if you wanted to. I believe that's good and dry. Now we're going to put just some Elmer's glue. I just use Elmer's glue. You can mix it with a little bit of water if you think it's too thick. You can do that. I just use it straight out of my container here. This is just a bottle that I found at the Walmart that I like to put my paint in. And I'm going to go ahead and crackle all of it. The front, the sides, and the top. Now you can also pounce your glue in just like that. I just kind of put mine on. Sometimes it makes big, sometimes it's small crackle. Now you can use some shorter strokes like that to put your glue on. I just put mine all the way on and just let it turn out however it turns out. So let's put some more. I'm just going to kind of pounce that in on the top there. Get plenty of glue. Now we're going to put it on our sides, and I'm just going to squirt some out of the bottle. I'm almost out. I'm going to have to fill it back up. And I'm just going to put a little bit right there and bring that down our sides. And I just use a piece of a car wash sponge is what I use. Nothing fancy. You can use the foam brushes, you can use a regular brush. I found that these are inexpensive, and you can use these and throw them away. Once you use both sides of it, throw it away. Get you another piece. That you can find these at any of the dollar stores, Walmart, any kind of store like that, Dollar General. And they are quick, and you can just toss them in the trash when you get through. Who wants to wash all those foam brushes, right? Just throw that in the garbage. Okay, we got our glue on. Now, I don't dry mine completely. I just dry it to where it's a little bit tacky. That is my preference on doing them. Okay, let's get a wipe and go ahead and wipe some of that off my hands. Now, another thing that you can do, if you didn't want it just a plain green, then you could put some multicolors on here. I would put a color here, here, and here. Especially if you wanted a gradient orange, you could just gradient down, and then when you do your crackle, it's very interesting and looks pretty. So let's just give this just a quick little tackiness. Don't want mine all the way dry. I just always just do a little tacky, and then I just put my paint straight on top. So you may want to wash that and then throw it out. So let's get our brush here, and we're going to be using the sheepskin on top by Home Decor Folk Art. I'm going to put a little bit on my palette. And I just like to put a little hole in the top of mine so that it doesn't come pouring out so heavily. But if you'll use a palette to put your paints out on, it's a lot easier. So I'm just going to first take a little bit here and get a little bit off. And I'm going to take our little pumpkin we're going to put on here, and I'm just going to dry brush it just a little bit. Not a lot, just give it a little bit of color on top of that stain. I just get a little bit off. Don't want a lot on there, and go a little bit this direction. That's all I'm going to put on there. I'm just going to make it look kind of vintage, and just leave it just like that. Then I'm going to take my other brush and put this on. To get a little bit more paint, that wasn't quite enough. This is kind of a creamy white, almost white with just a touch of cream. I love the color. It's called sheepskin, and it really looks like a sheepskin. It's about that color. Let's go ahead and get our top. And I got a little paint on the stem, but I don't think it's going to be showing anyway, because we're going to be putting a bow up there. So it'll cover that up, the little paint you got on it, but you can also touch it back up with some other paint. Let's go ahead and get this side done. There we go. That's looking good. Now let's just take it, get our dryer, and dry it up. It's already crackling before I'm even drying it. Already getting a crackle. And you definitely, if you don't want to speed up and do the drying, you can let it sit and it's going to crackle. But drying it does help the process, and it does give it a little bit more crackle usually if you will dry it. Now don't put your dryer up close. You want to keep it at a distance and keep it moving. If you put it down really close, it's going to blister your paint. So you definitely want to keep it moving. and you want to hold it to where it's not directly on your piece. I learned that the hard way when I was first starting out. I would blister so many of my projects, and it's already getting a good little crackle here. Good crackle. Not as much right in here, but we will be putting that pumpkin on the side, so I think it'll be okay. I'll make sure we get the edges. So maybe not, see, it's starting to crackle more. So it's a little thick with the paint right in there, but it is going ahead and crackling some. And sometimes your sides don't do as well. It just depends on what kind of wood it is. It just depends on your wood. One little place right there. I missed a little paint, so we'll go ahead and put that on. That's looking good. That is looking good. It doesn't take real long, but take enough time to get your glue dry. And this is the quickest crackle that I love to do. You can use all the crackle mediums, but just a little glue, or a little glue and water, or any other product that you'd like to use with glue in it will work. Quick and simple. I'm going to hold it up a minute and make sure we kind of get these sides really well. I see a little bit of wetness right up in there. You can kind of turn it to the side, and if it is a little shiny, that means it's still wet, and you want to get it good dry on this. I'm doing a lot of painting. I'll lay that back down. I'm going to need that little stem. Let me get a little paint off of me so I don't get it back on our project. Just use a wipe will do ya. Okay. Now we're going to take this little piece here. We're going to put it on the corner like a pumpkin. So I'm just going to use, and it looks like my hot tool already ran that battery down, so I'm going to put another one on. These batteries run out quick. I think I'm going to probably have to get some new batteries from Ryobi, because this one seems to be done pretty quick. We've had them a while, so I'm not going to complain. Okay, we got a little piece of a tree limb, and I just cut a piece off. I put a little of the grunge on the end just to make that match, and I'm gonna just put that up on top of a little pumpkin here, and I'll show y'all. Just gonna put it right there and just glue it and hold it just a minute. So we have a pumpkin stem. Just give it a little hold. Now you can also add some wood glue on there if it doesn't seem to be sticking. Sometimes it does have a little issue sticking, so you could put a little wood glue or a little 3-in-1, either one. I'm going to put just a little bit of my 3-in-1, Beacon 3-in-1 on there to give it a little extra hold with the hot glue. There we go. That ought to hold. There we go. Alright, just sometimes they're just persnickety. Gotta grow with the flow. Go with the flow. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna put a little bit of greenery. Well, I've got a little glue there. Go ahead and put a little bit of our greenery on there. I'm just gonna take a few of these little stems here. This is a piece of greenery you can get from the Hoblob, and it is in a long piece. It is called Flowering Garland in their floral area, and if you'll wait till it's 40% off, it's a better deal. And they do that every few weeks. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on top to kind of give that another little look there. You can also put some moss. Put those right in there. Of course, it wants to stick to everything but what you want to stick it to, of course. One thing about your greenery is it picks up every little piece of fuzz that you have from your bow or anything else. It seems to pick all of those things up. So there we go. I just put just a little bit of greenery right at the top of that. We'll let that dry up a little, and then we might put some little flowers or a sunflower. We're going to work on this now. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my coffee grunge and put it on my stem and darken it up just a little bit. This is a grunge that I got the recipe from my friend Tracy, and it is on my Facebook page in my featured section. It is 1 cup of lukewarm or hot water, 1/2 cup of instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And you can just mix that up and keep it in your refrigerator, and you can take it out a little bit before you're going to use it, or you can put it in the microwave. Make sure you take your top off and microwave it for just a couple of minutes. Now I've had that one sitting out so it's nice and warm, and that just gave our stem a little bit more of a dark color, just a little dark color. You of course could use that. I used that on the pumpkin here. You could use that around if you want to, or you can use some of your wax. So I'm going to go ahead and let that kind of dry, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put my wax on here before we add the other things. So I've just got some Dixie Belle. This is Best Dang Wax in brown, and I just like to use a little bit of it and put it over my crackle and give it a little antique look. I just like to add it on, a little antique look, and then I'm going to wipe some back. Just get it all in, and you can wipe this where you won't have this much. And I just love this step because I like mine to look vintage. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe some of this off, and then I will do the sides. So I've just got a little cloth. This is just one of those little soft cloths. And I'm just going to wipe a little back. You don't want to wipe too much because you want it to stay vintage. But you can add more if you don't have enough. I'm going to put a little bit right up in here. Now see the difference? Now look at the sides. See how cream it is? And then look at the top. That is your wax. So I like to put some all over. And I didn't put any more in my brush. I'm using just what I had in my brush. And that's just going to bring your crackle out a little bit more, make it look a little bit more of a vintage, more of an heirloom type pumpkin. But you can still see the greenish blue color that we used underneath is still coming out. I'm going to wipe a little bit of that back, and there we go on that part. Isn't that pretty? Looks good. You can always add more if you need more, if it doesn't have enough, and you also can go a little bit darker right here on your edges. So I like to take at least the 4 corners and put a little bit more wax on there, and then you can put a little bit down your sides as well, and then a little bit on the back side to kind of just make those corners stand out. You want to make those kind of stand out a little bit. So see the difference? That looks great. I love that. I've got that part finished. Okay, let's put our wax up. You can use any kind of wax. Some people use the wax from Home Depot, the Behr wax, B-E-H-R, and that works well. It's totally up to you what you want to use. Now let's put a couple of florals on here. We're not going to need anything real big, so let's see if we've got some of those smaller. Those are too big. Let's look at, I think I've got some smaller sunflowers right here, and I think they will do well. Let's see if I can find them. I meant to get them out. So we got a little sunflower here. And we'll just cut that little stem. It's a little wire stem. These come all together. You can get these at the dollar store. We're just going to use that. Put that one up here. A little glue. That'll be cute on there. Let's see what else we may have in a small flower. I don't have a ton of small flowers, but I've got a few. Let's see what we have. I know I've got some right here. Let me grab these. Thought I had some of these out. I think I'll use a little bit of these. I keep all my florals right here so that they're very close for me to use. Now, these are just some little orange and yellow flowers, but I think they'll be pretty on here. So let's just put that orange one right there. And this one's got a little bit of goldish yellow in it. Let's put that one there. That'll just give us a couple of flowers. Let's put a little bit of greenery with it. We definitely want a little greenery. Here's a little berry bush, which right now people have been scurrying to get because they think it's going to be discontinued. I believe they're just changing the SKU number from what the lady told me at the store. So I think they're just changing the number. But in the meantime, they have everybody panicking because they're your favorite. I love this. It goes on so many different kind of looks. Just a little berry bush. Okay, let's push this one in right here. And that just gave your pumpkin just a little something something. Just easy on that. And I think we'll put a little bit, I think we might add a little pitberry on there. I kind of like that. Let's see. I'm thinking adding the little pitberry right up in here. Let's see how that looks. That's just going to give it another element. And we'll just put that, see if we can just glue that one right there. And then I think I'll cut this part off. And we'll just make that one just kind of come out the top of our piece here. I think that'll look good. Let's put just a little glue and a little bit more down that way. And I'm going to use my little tool so I don't burn my fingers. And I'm just going to push that down just a little bit, just like that. And I think that's going to give it another element that'll be pretty. Might be pretty on the top as well. So that just gave us a little bit more on our pumpkin. Okay, now let's fix a pretty bow on here. I don't know that I'm going to put anything else on here because I think it kind of looks good like it is with just a little something on there. I don't think you have to have a lot. Now you could use a stencil on here. You could put some wording on here if you wanted to. We're just going to make a real pretty bow now on the top. And I'm just going to use the bow dabra. I just put a little piece of jute in here. And then we're going to use some of our fall fabric. And I've got all kinds of little fall fabrics. I don't think we're going to need a real long bow, but enough to make it stand out. So I've got this little piece here. Now some of these are coffee stained. I coffee stained a lot of material yesterday, so some of these are going to be coffee stained. And I use that same coffee mixture and I just dip them in there and then I put them up on a hanger to dry. Or you can put them on a rack, leave them outside in the sun, and they're going to be done in no time. They'll be completely dry from the heat. That's an easy peasy way to get your bows good and dry. Now I'm just going to use a piece here, and this is I believe this was a piece of cotton. I believe it was an old sheet. I've got cotton, I've got some muslin, I've got fabric that I bought, and sometimes I put some ribbons, but I really love the raggy bows. They are kind of my favorite, so I like to just use those most of the time. Let's put a little orange in there. This is just a little piece of like orangey rust material. I believe I got this from my neighbor. When she was moving, she gave me a lot of material she used to quilt. And she was moving to the retirement place, and I believe I got that from her. Let's see what else we've got here. let's put another little piece of our, here's a little piece of, this one's a little piece of muslin. Let's put that in there. We'll just put that one in as well. You can make your loops back and some at the bottom, some at the top, or you can just cross them all the same. Here's a little piece of material. This came from the Dollar Tree. It's just got some little white speckles on it. It was kind of interesting. It's kind of a netting, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Okay, let's put a little bit more of our fabric here. Let me see, I've got, let me see, I had that one. Let me see what else we have here, because I have several little things here. Here's another piece. This is a gold, kind of a gold material. Let's cut that one in half. We won't need it that big. Let's use it and put it right here. And these are going to be so pretty when we get our bow finished. And if some of them are short, that's okay too. You do not have to be a perfectionist at the length or anything else on that. Let's put this one on top. And this one's got some strings. Let me get that off. I like that one too. I'll put that one right there. I'm going to bring that one down just a little bit. So that one's a little stiff. Okay, and now I want to take some of the, I'll take a little bit, I like to add a little bit of this in my fall. And I went ahead and coffee stained this as well. You definitely don't have to coffee stain it, but I just thought it would kind of be fun to coffee stain some of the, and I like to pull mine apart. Just like that. I'm going to put several pieces of this. Let me find another piece over here. So I went ahead and just coffee stained it to make it a little darker. The raffia comes in different colors, so you can find it in some browns and some oranges, things like that. But I just like the natural, but I do like to coffee stain it some just so we have a little bit more color. Now you can leave it thick like this. I like mine thinned. So definitely do what you like. Okay, I'm just going to put it in here like this. You can tie a bow if you want to, and I'm going to trim some of that off, but I'm just going to put it on top just like that, and we're going to go ahead and tie it up. Take it out of your bow dabra. You of course can make a bigger bow, totally up to you what you want to do. Small, large, either one. And then just bring it as tight as you can. That one's kind of coming out a little bit, but we'll fix it. Now I'm going to turn it over to the back. This jute kind of, this kind of gets in the way, but you have to just get around it. And then I'm going to tie it once. And then I'm going to tie it around another time, put another loop in there, and that's going to help it. Then I'm just going to leave the jute in my bows. I love the raffia in there. I think it's going to be pretty. We're going to trim it off. Let's fluff, and I believe we probably are going to add some greenery and things to our bow here. I think that's going to dress it up a little bit. And then we will be finished with our cute little pumpkin here. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And we're definitely going to have to trim this raffia. It gets kind of long, but I like to go ahead and put it on like this so I can trim it off. And then you've got some little pieces you can save. And just kind of bring it around. And then just kind of shake your bow a little bit. That's all you got to do. And then let's take our piece back. So this was pretty simple, but easy to do. But it looks pretty when you get through. So I'm going to place my bow right up on top here, because I can put it right up here on our stem, and our stem's still going to show some. And I think that's going to be the best place for it. And then I think I'm going to add some greenery into it. So I'm just going to put a little bead of hot glue right there. And we're just going to put our bow right there on front, just like that. Let's get it to where it'll stay. I'll move some of that jute to the other side. I am going to trim my little jute part off just a little bit that's hanging out, and may have to trim up our bow, but it's looking pretty cute. Let's trim that just a little bit. That's looking cute on there. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of some greenery on there. So let me get that. I'm going to turn it this way. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. Let me get some of my greens that I've already cut. I have some ready. And I'm kind of thinking maybe a sunflower in the middle here may look good as well. So we'll kind of look at that too. Okay, I've got some little, I don't know if I'm going to want that leaf on there. I'm trying to think. Let me look. It's okay. I don't know that I'm crazy about it, but I'll look at it. Some greenery. I've got some other cut. Let me get that out. Let's get that. I've got some of this greenery as well we may use. Let's get a little of it out. Just get some different things and see what we like here. Also got these little orange pieces that are pretty interesting. So we're going to finish this up. I do like these little flowers here too. So these are kind of cute. These come from the Dollar Tree. They're kind of cute little flowers. We may put one of those in there. I'm kind of thinking on the leaf. And I did put a little bit of the dark wax on it. So I do have this one that looks a little bit more vintage, that's got the little leaf with it. Let me look at this. I don't know, I'm just really not feeling that leaf. You definitely could do it. I do have some little mums as well that would look good on here, but since I had the sunflower here, I thought I would go ahead and put that one on there. But let's look at some greenery and let's see how we like it. I kind of just have to play with mine till I get it like I want. And I like to put a little bit of greenery on here. We're going to take and just put a piece here. And I'm going to put this bigger piece right up here at the top. And then a little piece here. We're just going to add in a few things and see how we like it. That's what we're going to do. Just add in a few little greeneries. Doesn't have to be too much, but enough to make it look like you want. You of course could also put some moss if you want to. So that was just our bed of the greenery that I put right there, if you will. And let's put a little bit of this orange and a little bit over in here. Put just a little bit more glue right there. I like those little pieces too. I think they add to it. And now let's see if we want to add that. I do have one that's a little bit more goldish. I'm going to kind of look at that with the bow and see which one I like the best. Oh, I think I like this one. I think I love that dark color there. This one matches this a little bit better. So you really could use either one. I'm just going to put this one on there. I think this will look good with our other sunflower that we put on there. And that's going to go right there in the middle. And let me look at it. I may want to put another, I feel like it needs a little bit more greenery up in here. So I think I'm going to add this little piece right here. It's a little glue on our bow. and that little piece of greenery there, and I think that's going to make that look a lot better. So I am liking that so far. Let me cut just a little bit of this off. And it doesn't matter if you have different lengths. That makes it more interesting to have different lengths in your bow. So that's what I have. Let me pull that one over. So I hope that you enjoyed our little shelf sitter today and that you will make one. And let me know in the comments if you're going to make one. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you being here. Share me out to your friends so that they can join us as well. And I would love to see you again soon. Thank you for being here.